There's one. Didn't manage to scratch any of the paint. I'm not even a YouTube certified welder, but you know what? They may be ugly, but they're gonna work. Howdy y'all, welcome back to Maverick Mods. This week I'm kind of buttoning up the exhaust system on the Firebird. A few months ago I mocked it up, got all the pipes positioned, routed, and tacked in place. I didn't finish weld them at the time for two reasons. One, in case I needed to change something, it's a whole lot easier to cut a tack loose than it is to cut an entire weld. Or cut the pipe in a different spot and change it and then re-weld it in a different spot. The other reason was I needed to practice on my TIG skills. The exhaust system is stainless. It's either 406 or 409 stainless, and I don't have a whole lot of experience TIG welding to begin with, and I've got all my experience welding stainless turned out to be a horrible mess. I basically turned a bunch of stainless steel into Swiss cheese. So I needed to practice a little bit. Practice makes, well, in my case it didn't make perfect, but practice made acceptable. So grab your popcorn, let's get started. I'll go ahead and get the exhaust system welded up or finished. It's tack welded down. Get all the seams welded. Remember, I had to actually install a portion of the pipe, the pipes that go over the rear end, in order to fit everything else, the brakes and whatnot. But now I need to remove the pipes, get them on the bench so that I can weld them. So that's what I'm doing now. There's one. Didn't manage to scratch any of the paint. This one's even easier than the other side. How come you didn't weld up the exhaust system when you fabbed it up on the car? The reason for that was, in case I needed to make any changes, I could just cut some tacks loose, you know, rotate a pipe a little bit here or there until I got where it needed to be. Now that I'm actually reassembling the car, everything's in place, the whole shape is locked in. I'm pretty confident now that I can go ahead and weld the seams and it'll be final. I'll show a few little tidbits of me working with the TIG welder. Keep in mind that my TIG welds have gone from, shall we say, marginal to wholly unacceptable. They have, I think, now morphed to acceptable, ugly, with the very, very occasional good, you know, good-looking weld. In the end, I'm not going for looks. I'm going for functional and acceptable. So that's what's going to happen. If they look pretty in the end, that's a bonus, but I'm not counting on that yet. That's a skill set that I'm still working on. So let's get started TIG welding here. What I've got my TIG welder. Big thing on this area right here is cleanliness. So I've got everything wiped down with acetone, and I'm using, well, here's a small one, but I'm using 306 or 316 stainless. This is a 32nd inch welding rod. What I'm welding is actually 406 or 409, but it's still stainless. So I think this will be acceptable for using on these welds. I guess time will tell. Anyway, let's get started. All right, I have no excuses. Time for me to pretend like I know what I'm doing. I did discover yesterday that I know why welders wear long sleeve shirts. And I wound up getting a little bit of a sunburn here just because I was kind of right here as I was welding yesterday. So I'm not smart enough to remember to put a long sleeve shirt on today. So I'm just going to kind of drape a little towel right there. Hopefully that'll stop some of the sunburn this time. This is going to be long and tedious. Let's just do the occasional progress update on this. All right, both tailpipes, I guess you can call them tailpipes, they're done. Turned out pretty good. Right there on this side, as I got around that hanger, it started looking a little bit ugly. Didn't have a really good access, and I probably got a little bit of a hurry too, but you know, what the heck. They're good enough, they'll hold. Next up, got to work on both headers. Now I had to realign the very end of the collector on both sides, or both headers. So basically what I did was I just cut all around the perimeter, bent it back, and I'll just re-weld all around the perimeter there to get the header back in good shape. Well, let's take a look at my work. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it is serviceable. There we go. All right, so this header can go back in. I've got another header to fix and a couple more pipes to finish welding, including the V-band clamps. I'm going to get those done off camera because that's just boring watching a lot of welding. We'll come back when it's time to put the exhaust system back in the Firebird. Now, there's the pile of exhaust pieces that have been welded. And this one is too hot to touch right now, but it can go on that pile because it's done too. So the exhaust is welded up. Next, reinstalling everything. The exhaust system, well, it's in temporarily. I've got the headers hanging, not completely solid yet. My connectors here are just kind of in by hand. I am basically mounted from here back, and everything looks good. Like I said, my welds aren't perfect. I told you guys, I'm not a certified welder. And I'm not even a YouTube certified welder, but you know what? They may be ugly, but they're gonna work. So with the pipes from here back in, one of the things I need to worry about is heat control. And the insulation I put in the cabin that's sound insulation. It's not gonna do anything for heat. All right, so let's talk about heat control for a second. Believe me, myself and nobody else enjoys driving a car around a couple of minutes, a couple of hours, when that header is just cooking your right foot. Not fun at all. So how do we prevent that? Well, all right, here's my theory. And I think this is probably pretty valid because most of the manufacturers have been doing this for years. If you allow the heat to get to the floor, you've lost the battle. Because then what you're trying to do is you're trying to mitigate that heat propagating beyond the floor and up into your feet. If you can reflect, deflect, or otherwise stop some or most of the heat from getting to the floor, you're way ahead. And that's kind of my theory on this. Most modern cars, they don't really do a lot of post heat insulation. In other words, your foam pad under your carpet is not there to control heat, it's there to absorb sound. And I've kind of done the same thing here. So I need to figure out a way to build some heat shields in the worst spots where the headers kind of come down at the toe boards and the floorboards themselves. So I did a lot of research and talked to a couple of guys that seem to know more about this than I do, and I came up with a plan. So the plan is, I went out and picked up a sheet of, this is, I don't even know what thickness is, pretty thin aluminum. I'm going to utilize my sheet metal brake and my new bead roller to turn that from a floppy mess into a set of heat shields for both the driver and the passenger that will deflect, hopefully, most of the heat from the headers. Well, I measured out the size of panel that I need. 21 by 8 will cover both sides. Hopefully I've got enough that I can ruin a few without having to buy a new piece of sheet aluminum here. So let's start off. All right, next up, let's see if we can take some of the floppy out of this. So I got my piece cut, and I'm gonna put, the other one I looked at had this too, so I'm gonna try it. Just put an X pattern with the bead roller in the center of that. Hopefully that'll take, give it some rigidity. I'm kind of freehanding this, so I've got it marked out. We'll see how it works out. I'm still learning this machine, so, who knows? All right, so there's the first one. Let's try it this way, see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen when I cross this center section. This might be kind of interesting. Nothing. You got to push it through? I don't know. Yeah, okay, there we go. Well, I'm not quite sure. Maybe if I just run that center section back through, let's see what happens there. I'm probably doing this wrong. Yeah, probably am. I'm just gonna leave it like that. You know what? When I get to here, let's see what happens when I do the next one. All right, now when I do this side, I think what I'm going to do is not cross over where I've already put the bead. Let's see if that works. All right, so I'll probably have to do a little straightening. Let's see how it works. All right, so after a little bit of work on the sheet metal brake and some hammer time, there is my heat shield. It's going to go right up in here. Going to go right up against there. And I'm going to secure it by going through the floor and doing some standoffs. And hopefully that will take some of the warp out of this panel as well. So let me get some screws and some standoffs in here and see if we can't secure this and see what it looks like. I've got my heat shield bent up, ready to go. I've got my standoffs set up. Those are just number 10 screws coming down through the floor. They're JB welded into the floor, and then I'm using just extra nuts to kind of create the standoff. It gives me about 3/8 of an inch, maybe close to a 1/2 inch gap between the the heat shield, and the floor itself. So let's go ahead and get it installed. I took the header out just to make a little bit more room to get everything in, get to the nuts and the bolts and everything. So I'm just going to slide it up on the studs. A bit of a tight fit right there, but that'll work. Okay. All right, now I'm going to use a little bit of Loctite on the nuts on the bottom. Of course. Well, that nut's now in the land of Narnia. It'll show up a couple of years from now, I'm sure. Just grab a new one. All right. I think I'm pretty happy with that. I need to clean it up a little bit, but I get the header reinstalled and work on the passenger side, and these heat shields are gonna be done. Let's take a look at my handiwork here on these heat shields. You saw the driver's side. I went in and got the passenger side fabbed up. It's mounted. I've got probably close to a 1/2 inch air gap between the heat shield and the floor. Mostly a good air gap. It's a little tight right here, but there it is, almost a finger's width. So maybe 3/8 between the header and the heat shield. Same thing on this side. It's actually just a hair tighter in one little spot right there, but there is still an air gap there. And I've got at least 3/8, close to a 1/2, all around the heat shield. So I think they're gonna work. Got the header, I've got the driver's side header in. Still working on doing some wiring harness routing before I can solid mount the passenger side header and get the rest of the exhaust system mounted up. That's going to have to wait, however, because as you might be able to see, the shop is a monumental wreck, and that's because I'm giving up one bay there. I've got these two here, but I'm gaining those two bays there. So we're reconfiguring everything right now. And so work on the Firebird is gonna come to a stop for a few days while we get everything reconfigured and kind of rearranged. As soon as that's done, we can get back on the Firebird. There you have it, guys. Exhaust system is mostly buttoned up. Basically all I've got to do is tighten up the passenger side header, and then I can basically finish bolting and clamping it all together. So almost another check mark off the list to getting the Firebird back on the road. Reconfiguring the shop, so work on the Firebird for a few days only is going to have to stop, and we're working around it, see how well that works. But I should have the shop reconfigured here in a couple of days over this weekend, and I can get back to working on cars again. Certainly appreciate everybody watching. Big thanks to all you guys for tuning in every week, every week, next week. Please like, share, subscribe, notify, blah, 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 blah. You guys know the drill. It does help me out. It has helped me out tremendously in the last few weeks. And again, a big thanks. Hope to see you next week. Everybody, have a great day.